Welcome to Stories from the Holy Book, where timeless truths and sacred stories come to life. Long ago, in the land of Uz, there lived a man named Job. He was renowned throughout the region for his unwavering integrity, generosity, and deep reverence for God. As the scriptures describe him, this man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. Job's life seemed blessed beyond measure. He was wealthy, respected, and surrounded by a loving family. His prosperity was not mere chance. Job actively sought righteousness. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. Job 1:2-3. He was, in every way, a pillar of his community. Yet, in the heavenly realms, events unfolded that would test Job's strength and spirit. Satan approached God with a challenge. Was Job truly faithful, or was his devotion just a result of his comfort and fortune? The Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him." Job 1:8. But Satan argued that if Job's blessings were stripped away, he would surely curse God. So, with God's permission, Satan set out to test Job, beginning a sequence of tragic events that would shatter his world. In a furious blaze of calamity, Job's livestock was stolen, his servants were killed, and a powerful wind caused the house where his children celebrated to collapse, leaving no survivors. Within moments, Job transformed from one of the wealthiest men in the East to a father in mourning, stripped of his family and fortune. Confronted with monumental loss, Job's response was extraordinary. At this, Job got up and tore his robe and shaved his head. Then he fell to the ground in worship and said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." Job 1:20-21. In the midst of agony, he refused to turn against God. But the test was not over. Satan appeared again before the Lord, asserting that physical suffering would break Job's spirit. With God's consent, Job was afflicted with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. Job 2:7. He scraped himself with a shard of broken pottery and sat among the ashes, alone, broken, and in unimaginable pain. Even in this dire state, Job's faith endured. His wife, overwhelmed by despair, urged him to curse God and die. But Job replied, "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Job 2:10. In all this, the Bible tells us, Job did not sin in what he said. News of Job's suffering spread, and 3 of his friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, came to comfort him. For 7 days they sat in silence, recognizing the depth of his grief. But when they eventually spoke, their words stung rather than soothed. They insisted that God punishes only the wicked, and that Job's suffering must be punishment for sin he had yet to confess. Job, however, protested his innocence. He pleaded for understanding, lamenting his circumstances, but never denying his faith in God's justice. "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. I will surely defend my ways to his face." Job 13:15. Job's dialogues with his friends painted a picture of a man grappling with unimaginable pain, confusion, and questions about the nature of suffering. As the conversations dragged on, a younger observer, Elihu, entered the debate, arguing that suffering can also be a means for God to teach or discipline the righteous, not just punish the wicked. But Job's pangs remained, and his longing for answers from God grew ever deeper. He wished for someone to mediate between himself and the Almighty, someone who could understand his plight. Finally, God intervened. With a voice from a whirlwind, the Lord responded to Job, not with the answers he sought, but with questions that highlighted the vastness of divine wisdom. "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand." Job 38:4. God's words drew Job into a deeper comprehension of the gulf between human understanding and divine providence. In the face of God's majesty, Job's anger and confusion melted away into humility. He confessed, "Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." Job 42:3-5. In repentance, Job accepted that while he could not unravel every mystery, he could trust in God's ultimate wisdom and goodness. Seeing Job's humility and faith, God restored his fortune. Not only was Job healed, but the Lord made him prosperous again and gave him twice as much as he had before. Job 42:10. Friends and family rejoiced with him, and Job was blessed with more children. After this, Job lived 140 years. He saw his children and their children to the 4th generation, and so he died, old and full of years. Job 42:16-17. The story of Job stands as one of the Bible's most profound explorations of suffering, faith, and perseverance. Through Job's trials, we are taught several enduring lessons. First, suffering is not always a direct result of personal wrongdoing. Sometimes the reasons for pain remain hidden, but faithfulness can persist even in the absence of clear answers. As Job's unwavering response demonstrated, "The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." Second, it demonstrates the importance of humility before God. Human wisdom is limited and can never fully grasp the complexity of divine plans. Job learned that faith sometimes means trusting God's goodness, even when the path is shrouded in darkness. And lastly, the book of Job reminds us that restoration can follow suffering. Endurance, integrity, and trust in God are honored, even if the journey is fraught with trial. As we face our own challenges, Job's story calls us to hold fast to our faith, to seek understanding, but also to rest in God's immense wisdom and everlasting love. Through his sorrow and steadfastness, Job left an enduring message, that faith perseveres not because of what we receive, but because of who we trust, even when the world offers no easy answers. Thank you for watching Stories from the Holy Book. May these stories strengthen your faith and guide your heart. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more sacred tales and divine inspiration. God bless you.